My name is Tatiana Mills, and my topic of choice was Muslims in the United States. I picked this topic out of curiosity because I know that they faced Islamophobia, but besides that, I didn't know what they went through psychologically or mentally or how they were seen when they were trying to seek like mental help or guidance or anything under the mental umbrella. Um, what was interesting was my curiosity was right. Even trying to find actual journals about Muslims in the United States, it there weren't that many, and if there were, they were always included in with a different demographic. It was never just solely based on like what they went through. Um, for the section that related most to the biases of Muslims in the United States, I chose religious ethics. What I found interesting was at the bottom of the section, it was talking, well, it said that this approach provides those who follow it with a powerful tool that helps them cope with many of the ethical issues encountered in social work. On the other hand, they face a very serious problem when applying this approach because they practice in what is essentially a secular society, and the law and or ethics of one religion grouping may conflict with the law ethic of another societal group. So what I gathered from that was if you are a social worker and you are heavily into the Christian religion or the Christian faith, or you believe in God and you're not that accepting of a different religion, such as those of Islam faith, it's going to be very hard to try to understand or have a cultural competence to work with them because you don't view them how you would if they were Christian. From another article, I also got, well, from what I gathered, no, sorry, in another article that I felt tied into the whole religious ethics was delivering high quality care to patients of Muslim faith requires an understanding of the differences in cultural and spiritual values. So, in religious ethics, if you don't share that understanding, it's going to be very difficult to work with those of the Muslim faith just because they require so much and you're not willing to give them exactly what they need. Um, For practices, theories, techniques, and strategies for working through biases associated with Muslims in the United States, um, there was one journal, sorry, titled Addressing Cultural Barriers with Muslim Clients and Agency Perspective. So the journal started off by stating a primary goal for social service agencies and social work practitioners is to foster policies and procedures that fulfill the necessary promotion of cultural competence and sensitivity in every aspect of their social service delivering system. Within that initial goal of obtaining cultural competency within social work arose a multicultural initiative in the profession known as localization. Well, the localization movement. This movement called for the development of a different viewpoint of social work knowledge base, well, of a different social work knowledge base for each culture encountered, which included those of Muslim faith. And then to expand on the idea of localization was another journal called Adapting Social Work and Working with Muslim Clients, where they said for localization to work, a modification of social work knowledge had to be done, which included different principles of community involvement. Localizing the profession's knowledge and theory makes the profession more attuned to the needs of particular cultural groups. So the development of localization forced, I want to say, social workers to be more open-minded when it came to those of a different religious background, ethnic background, because I think without localization, there wouldn't be, there would be very few different, I think, ethnic backgrounds willing to seek help from social workers, I want to say. Lastly was the development of, well, not the development, but the creation of the standards and indicators for cultural competence in social work practice. It was, well, when I was looking up what was done in the social work field, that was the first thing that popped up. And it was a manual, and each manual talked about how you could develop necessary skills in a certain field and why it was important. And religion was a part of that. So it didn't specifically say those of Muslim or Islamic faith, but it definitely touched on the religion aspect, which I felt was important because you're not going to encounter somebody with the same religious background as you. So as a social worker, you need to be prepared to work with anybody, no matter what their faith or religion is. And I think that was all I had for my notes. But that is my summary of Muslims in the United States.